The emperor who hated gifts. The dragon palace stood on top of a black mountain that touched the clouds. Its towers were sharp like claws, and its giant golden gates could be seen for miles away. Every species in the galaxy feared the place, because inside lived Emperor Zarvith, ruler of the Dragon Empire, strongest of all dragon kind, commander of 1,000 worlds, and destroyer of armies. But there was something strange about him. He hated gifts. Not disliked. Hated. Every morning, new ships from different planets would land outside the palace. They came carrying treasures, mountains of gems, rivers of liquid gold, rare creatures, weapons glowing with strange power. Every ruler wanted the emperor's favor. Some wanted peace. Some wanted safety. Some simply wanted him not to burn their planet. So they sent gifts. But the emperor always rejected them. One day, the grand hall of the palace was full of visitors again. Large alien rulers sat nervously, waiting for the emperor to arrive. Some had 3 eyes, some had wings, some were made of glowing stone. All of them held their breath. A loud humming started. The air became hot. And then, he appeared. Emperor Zarvith walked into the hall like a storm. His scales were dark blue, almost black, and his eyes burned with golden fire. His wings spread wide, covering half the hall. Even his strongest visitors felt tiny in front of him. A servant stepped forward quickly. "Your Majesty," he said with a shaking voice, "the rulers from the Sora system bring a gift of 1,000 diamonds, each from the heart of a comet." The visitors watched carefully, hoping for even the smallest smile. Zarvith glanced at the diamonds. He snorted. Then, with a single swipe of his claw, he crushed the diamonds into dust. The rulers gasped. One fainted. Zarvith growled, "Next." Another servant ran forward. "Your Majesty, the Kellan tribe brings a living sun in a containment orb. It shines with eternal light." Zarvith didn't even look. "Send it back." The visitors whispered nervously. Some wanted to escape, but the giant guards blocked every exit. Everyone knew the rule. No species could leave until the emperor finished judging the gifts. A third servant approached. "Your Majesty, the High Council of Irida offers a blade of forever. It can cut through time itself. At least this gift," made the emperor pause. He stared at the strange, glowing blade for 3 long seconds. Then he blew a small flame toward it. The blade melted like butter. "Useless," he said. The entire hall fell silent. Nobody dared speak. The emperor was in one of his moods again, a dangerous mood. Everyone wondered what kind of gift he was waiting for. Some believed he wanted something bigger. Others believed he wanted something with great power. But the truth was stranger. The emperor felt nothing from these gifts. They were empty, cold, made only to win his favor. They meant nothing. He wanted something real, but he didn't even know that himself. Another visitor, shaking like a leaf, stepped forward. "Great Emperor," he said, "we offer a song sung by the last siren of our world." The siren took a deep breath, her voice gentle as wind and water. A beautiful melody filled the hall. But the emperor didn't move. He didn't blink. He didn't feel anything. "Enough," he said. "Your song has no heart." The siren burst into tears. The guards dragged the visitors away. Everyone left the hall except the servants and the emperor. The huge palace room looked even darker than before. Smoke curled around the melting blade and the crushed diamonds. The emperor climbed the steps to his throne and sat down. His golden eyes stared at the long line of unopened gifts still waiting for him. He sighed, quietly, so quietly that only the closest servant heard him. The servant, an old dragon with silver scales, bowed his head. "My lord, nothing pleases you today, either?" Zarvith shook his head. "Nothing. But these worlds worked so hard to bring these things," the servant said gently. "They bring them out of fear," the emperor replied. "Fear is not a gift." The servant did not argue. He had served the emperor for many years and knew when to stay silent. Outside, the visitors could be heard complaining and whispering. Some were angry, some were terrified, some planned to never return again. The emperor leaned back in his throne, tired of everything. Treasures, weapons, songs, jewels, all useless. He hated the feeling that he was made of stone inside, unable to enjoy anything. Sometimes he wondered if dragons were simply built this way, hard, strict, cold. But deep inside, in a place he never touched, he felt something else. Loneliness. He would never admit it. Not to the galaxy, not to his guards, not even to himself. He closed his eyes and said, "End it for today. I will not see any more gifts." The servants bowed and began clearing the hall. But fate works in strange ways. Far away, on a small human world, a simple piece of paper was being packed inside a cargo container. A hand-drawn card, colored with cheap crayons, made by a lonely child who didn't know her drawing was traveling to the Dragon Empire. A gift unlike any the Emperor had ever seen. And soon it would reach him, and nothing in the galaxy would stay the same. The human orphan's journey. The stars over Earth were quiet that night. Cargo ships moved slowly through orbit, carrying supplies, medicine, machines, and sometimes small items no one thought much about. One of those small items was a hand-drawn thank you card, sealed inside a plain supply crate. No lights, no protection, no label saying very important. Just a simple folded paper with crayon marks. And it belonged to a human orphan named Mia. Mia lived in a crowded building at the edge of New Hope City. The orphanage was old, the roof leaked when it rained, and the food was usually watery soup. But the children there had something strong, hope that someone someday would adopt them. Mia was the quietest child. She didn't speak much. She didn't fight. She didn't ask for anything. She just drew. She drew dragons most of all. Not scary ones, friendly ones. Dragons who saved people. Dragons who protected children. Dragons who made the night feel warm. She drew one dragon again and again. Always the same shape. Tall wings, a dark body, eyes glowing like gold fire. She drew Zarvath, the Dragon Emperor, but she didn't know his name. She only remembered him from one moment in her life, a moment she thought was just a half-dream. Years ago, when she was a toddler, her village was under attack. Buildings burned. People screamed. Mia had been trapped under rubble, crying alone. She remembered fire falling from the sky, but not hurting her. She remembered a huge shadow covering her, protecting her. Then she remembered a deep, rumbling voice. "Do not fear. You are safe." Strong claws lifted the burning rubble. A giant wing shielded her from falling fire, and glowing golden eyes looked at her softly. She didn't know it then, but the one who saved her was the most feared creature in the galaxy, the same emperor who crushed diamonds for fun. But to little Mia, he was simply Mr. Dragon, and she wanted to thank him. One day, a group of volunteers visited the orphanage. They carried cameras, smiling faces, and large boxes filled with paper and crayons. "We're making appreciation cards," one volunteer announced. "We'll send them to all the species that helped protect Earth during the old wars." The children began drawing spaceships, superheroes, giant robots. Mia sat quietly for a moment. Then she picked up a blue crayon. She drew the dragon from her memory, standing tall, wings open, shielding a tiny child from fire. She wrote in messy letters, "Thank you, Mr. Dragon." When volunteers came to collect the cards, one woman paused at Mia's drawing and smiled sadly. "Oh, sweetie, the Dragon Emperor doesn't accept gifts," she said. "He destroys everything." But Mia simply shook her head. "He won't destroy this. He saved me." The volunteer sighed. She didn't want to break the child's heart. So she said quietly, "All right, we will send it." She placed the drawing with the other cards and continued, gathering more. But Mia's card didn't go into the diplomatic package. By accident, or maybe fate, it got dropped into a supply crate instead. The crate was sealed, scanned, and pushed into a cargo ship headed for different worlds. None of the workers knew a child's drawing was inside. None of them knew the Dragon Emperor would ever see it. And none of them knew that this tiny mistake would soon shake the entire galaxy. Weeks later, the cargo ship arrived at a Dragon Empire outpost. The guards scanned the crates. Most contained ordinary items, metal parts, medical kits, food containers. But one guard paused at a crate that felt too light. "What is this?" he muttered. He opened it. Inside, he found sacks of flour and something small stuck between them. a folded paper. He almost threw it away at first. Dragons had no use for human paper trash. But then he saw something on the front. A drawing of a dragon with golden eyes and dark wings. It looked a lot like the Emperor himself. The guard's scales prickled. Something about the drawing felt strange, gentle, warm, innocent. It was the opposite of everything he knew from the palace. He opened the card. There were childish scribbles. A small figure standing under a dragon's wing. And the words, "Thank you, Mr. Dragon." The guard felt his stomach twist. He had seen the Emperor reject gifts from powerful rulers. He had seen him crush diamonds the size of his head. And he knew that if anyone brought the Emperor something foolish, something simple, the Emperor could burn them alive. But something whispered inside him. This is different. He swallowed hard, closed the crate, and carried the drawing to the palace. Every step toward the throne room felt like walking toward his own funeral. Inside the palace, the Emperor's mood was darker than usual. The air smelled of burnt metal. He had just melted another gift. Servants kept their heads low, afraid to make eye contact. The guard approached slowly, holding the simple folded card with shaking claws. "Your Majesty," he whispered. The Emperor growled, not looking at him. "What now? Another pointless offering. And no, my lord, this is different." Zarvith turned his head, eyes glowing. "Show me." The guard placed the little card before him and stepped back as fast as possible. The Emperor stared at it. No gold, no jewels, just a child's drawing. His brow lowered. His wings shifted. The hall grew tense. He opened the card. He saw the drawing of him protecting a small child. He saw the crayon words. He felt something he hadn't felt in years. Silence fell across the hall. Servants held their breath. Guards froze in place. The Emperor did not burn the card. He didn't crush it. He didn't throw it away. Instead, he whispered something no one had heard from him before. "Who sent this?" The guard swallowed. "A human child, my lord. We do not know who." The Emperor closed the card gently. And then he said the words that would spark fear, confusion, and chaos across the galaxy. "Find her." The Emperor's rage turned silent. The Dragon Palace had seen many storms, but nothing like the one rising inside Emperor Zarvith. He held the small human card in his claws, carefully, almost gently, so unlike his usual crushing strength. The servants watched in terror, because when the Emperor went quiet, it meant danger far worse than fire. The golden flames in his eyes flickered, not with anger, but something they couldn't name. He stared at the drawing for a long time. Every line, every crayon mark, every shaky letter written by a small hand. His throne room was silent. Too silent. For the first time, the Emperor didn't shout, growl, or burn anything. He simply whispered. A human child. His voice was low, deep, and unreadable. The guard who brought the card stood frozen like a statue, regretting every life choice he had made. The Emperor finally looked up. "Where did this come from?" he asked. "And not from the diplomatic ships, my lord," the guard stuttered. "It arrived in a cargo crate. By accident." "Accident?" Zarvith repeated, eyes narrowing. "Do you believe in accidents?" The guard shook his head fast. "And no, my Emperor." "Good," Zarvith growled. "Because I do not." He rose from his throne. The floor vibrated. The walls trembled. Servants fell to their knees. The Emperor spread his wings, and everyone felt a pressure so strong it pushed the air out of their lungs. His presence filled the hall like a living storm. He held the card up to the light. A child had drawn him protecting her. No crowns, no palace, no armies, just a dragon and a child. He felt something sharp twist inside him, a memory he had buried like a dead star. A battlefield, smoke, a burning human village, and a small child crying under rubble. He had saved her. He remembered her tiny hand touching his snout. He remembered her eyes, wide and frightened, yet trusting him. He had left before she could speak. He thought humans had forgotten, but this child hadn't. The simple card hit him harder than any weapon. A council member, brave or foolish, stepped forward. "My lord, do you wish us to discard it?" he asked softly. Zarvith turned to him with slow, dangerous precision. "Discard it," he said. "Do you think this is like the others?" The council member shook so hard his armor clicked. "No, my Emperor." Zarvith walked past him, wings dragging against the marble floor. "Every species sends me gifts of fear," he said. "But this—" He lifted the card again. This was given without fear, without power, without agenda. The council watched their emperor with shock. They had known him for centuries. They had seen him destroy planets, crush armies, and melt weapons that legends were built on. But they had never seen him confused, or touched, or human. The emperor stopped at the center of the hall. "Find the child," he ordered. A murmur spread through the room like a wave of panic. "My lord," a commander said nervously, "the human territories are wide. Searching for one child may take." Zarvith snapped his wings open with a thunderous crack. The commander fell silent. "Then begin now," the emperor growled. "Search every human world, every orphanage, every station, every shipport." His voice grew deeper, like the growl of an ancient beast awoken. "She is not just any child. She is the one who remembers me." The palace guards exchanged terrified glances. Dragons did not search for humans. They did not worry about feelings. They did not care about drawings. But the emperor was not acting like a normal dragon anymore. He looked at the card again, and something changed in his expression, something fragile and dangerous at the same time. A servant whispered to another, "Is he moved?" Another whispered back, "If he is moved, we must all fear. A dragon's heart is mighty, but when it wakes, nothing survives." They weren't wrong. A dragon with a sleeping heart is calm. A dragon with an awakened heart is a force that can change galaxies. As the search orders spread across the empire, panic erupted across the dragon worlds. Rumors flew faster than ships. Why is the emperor hunting for a human child? Is she dangerous? Did she insult him? Will he destroy Earth? Is the child some kind of weapon? No one knew the truth. Not yet. Meanwhile, Zarvith returned to his private chamber, a dark room with only a single glowing crystal. He had never kept a gift before, but he placed the child's card on a stone pedestal, as if it were a priceless relic. He sat before it, staring, trying to understand, trying to remember what it meant to feel. A single line from the drawing clung to his mind. "Thank you, Mr. Dragon. Not Emperor, not Ruler, not Your Majesty. Just Mr. Dragon." The name felt warm, painfully warm. He touched the drawing with a single claw, so gently that even the dust on it didn't move. "Who are you, little one?" he whispered. "And why do you remember a monster like me with kindness?" Far away on Earth, Mia slept in her small bed, unaware that the most feared creature in the galaxy was thinking about her, searching for her, and that her life was about to change forever. And the galaxy? It had just begun to tremble. Memories he wanted to forget. The Dragon Emperor did not sleep that night. Dragons didn't need much sleep anyway. But this time it was something else. Something deeper. Something heavier. He kept staring at the small hand-drawn card, glowing softly under the crystal light. Every time he looked at the little human child in the drawing, he felt a strange ache in his chest, a place dragons believed was made of pure stone. But tonight, that stone was cracking. While the palace slept, the emperor walked out into the cold night air. The sky above the dragon homeworld was dark blue, filled with glowing storms and lightning that danced across the clouds. The wind was sharp, but Zarvith barely noticed. His mind was somewhere far away, years back, in a battlefield he had tried to bury. He closed his eyes, and the memory hit him like a blast of fire. Smoke choked the air. Human buildings burned. Screams spread through the night like broken echoes. The war had been fierce, violent, and messy. Most dragon soldiers saw humans only as noisy, stubborn creatures who refused to die quietly. But Zarvith saw something else that day. He had flown over the battlefield, crushing invading war beasts that threatened both dragons and humans. And then, he heard a small cry from beneath the rubble of a burning roof. He landed. He pushed the stones aside, and he saw her, a tiny human toddler covered in dust, shaking, tears in her eyes. She didn't scream at him. She didn't run. She lifted her small hands toward him as if he was safety. He remembered a warmth he'd never felt before. He remembered his claws, giant, fire-scarred claws, gently lifting her. He remembered shielding her with his wings, while fire rained around them. He remembered murmuring, "You are safe." He remembered her tiny hand touching his snout. Then the memory ended. He had flown away before she could speak a word. He never expected she would remember. He never expected she would grow up. He never expected she would draw him. He never expected anything from humans. But that child, Mia, had held on to that single moment her whole life. The Emperor opened his eyes again, standing alone on a balcony high above the clouds. A whisper escaped him, so soft even the wind almost missed it. Why does this memory hurt? Because it wasn't pain. It was something much more dangerous. It was feeling. Dragons ruled by strength, fear, and power. But a dragon with feelings? That was a threat to everyone, including himself. Down in the palace war room, commanders were busy drawing maps, scanning star systems, and sending orders to ships. The Emperor's command, "Find the human child," had shaken the Empire like a thunderstrike. Search teams launched across the galaxy. Scout ships zipped through human colonies. Intelligence officers scanned orphanage records. Dragon warriors stood ready for anything. But the galaxy didn't understand why. Rumors spread faster than light. Did the child anger him? Will he burn Earth? Is the child the chosen one? Did she curse the Emperor? Did the card insult him? No one knew the truth. Not even the Dragon Council. And the Emperor wasn't telling. Meanwhile, on Earth, the human governments had detected dragon ships moving strangely near their borders. Panic spread through military bases. Commanders shouted orders. People whispered in fear. Why is the Dragon Empire searching for a human child? What does the Emperor want? Prepare defenses. Something big is coming. But Mia, the child at the center of this storm, simply sat in the orphanage attic with a small candle, drawing quietly on old scraps of paper. She didn't know her drawings were causing interstellar chaos. She didn't know 1,000 dragon soldiers were following her faint trail. She didn't know the most feared emperor in the galaxy was remembering her face. She only knew one thing. That one day, someone with golden eyes had saved her, and she wanted to thank him. Back in the palace, the emperor called his oldest advisor, the silver-scaled dragon named Rither. Rither approached nervously. "You summon me, my lord?" Zarvith held out the drawing. Rither stared at it for a long moment. His eyes softened. "This child, she saw you differently," he whispered. "Yes," Zarvith replied. "She saw something even I have forgotten." Rither hesitated. "My emperor, what is it that troubles you?" Zarvith looked at the drawing again. "It is not the gift," he said quietly. "It is the memory behind it." Rither bowed his head. "Do you regret saving the child?" Zarvith snorted. "Regret? No, but I regret something else." "What, my lord?" "That I left her there," the emperor said. "Alone, crying, and never returned." The admission shocked Rither so deeply he forgot to breathe for a moment. His emperor, who feared nothing, was showing guilt? This was dangerous. This was powerful. This was human. "Bring the fleet closer to human space," Zarvith finally ordered. "Increase the search, and send word to Earth." "What message shall we send?" The Emperor's eyes burned brighter than fire. "Tell them the Dragon Emperor seeks one child, and he will not leave without her." The whole palace froze. A single human orphan had become the Emperor's top priority. A single drawing had awakened something ancient inside a heart everyone believed was made of stone. And the galaxy was about to learn. When a dragon remembers, the universe shivers. The search begins. The Dragon Empire did not move quietly. When they searched, the galaxy felt it. Within hours of the Emperor's command, colossal dragon warships spread across star systems. Their wings of metal blocked out suns. Their engines rumbled like mountains breaking, and their scanners reached deep into human territories. Every world watched with fear. Every government panicked. Every military tightened defenses. No one knew why the Emperor wanted one human child, but everyone knew he must not be angered. Earth's response: pure panic. In the human government hall on Earth, generals and leaders shouted over one another. "The dragon fleets are forming a pattern. This is a targeted search, not an attack." But searching for what? Someone tell the Emperor, "We do not hide anything." And what if we accidentally do hide something? We don't even know what he wants. Screens showed dragon ships scanning borders, hovering near human space stations, blocking trade lanes, and demanding docking rights for child identification teams. Earth had no idea who the child was. They didn't know she was sitting quietly in an old orphanage attic, drawing with broken crayons. Mia's life stays small, but the storm is growing. While the galaxy trembled, Mia lived her small, silent life. She woke up early. She ate simple meals. She helped younger children tie their shoes. And every evening, she climbed to the attic to draw the same dragon again, the one with golden eyes. One of the caretakers, Miss Alina, watched her and whispered, "You really love drawing that dragon, don't you?" "He saved me," Mia replied softly. "You mean someone dressed as a dragon?" "No," Mia said, "a real dragon." Miss Alina smiled nervously, the kind adults make when they want to believe a child's imagination but can't. But Mia saw something else that night. Through the attic window, far in the sky, a star flickered, then moved. She pressed closer to the glass. "That's not a star," she whispered. "That's a ship." But she didn't know that the ship belonged to the Dragon Emperor's personal fleet, and that her world was about to be surrounded. Dragons enter human space. At the edge of the solar system, human warships blocked the dragon advance. Their captains trembled as a massive dragon-shaped flagship approached. A message came through, deep, echoing, impossible to ignore. "This is Emperor Zarveth. Stand down. I seek one human child. Interfere and burn." The human commander panicked. "We don't know what child you want." Zarveth responded calmly. "Then I will find her myself." The message sent shockwaves through Earth's military. The Emperor himself was coming? That was not a search. That was destiny walking. Inside the Dragon Palace, a dangerous revelation. While the fleet moved, the Dragon Council gathered in secret. They spoke in hushed voices, tails twitching. The Emperor has changed. His emotions are waking. This is dangerous. A dragon with emotions becomes unpredictable. What if the human child is the key? What if she can control him? We must reach her first. The room froze. They were thinking of doing something foolish, something deadly. The oldest council member whispered, "If the child is a threat to the Emperor, we should eliminate her before he finds her." Silence. Then, agreed. In the shadows, a cloaked assassin of the council spread his wings and slipped away. A new hunt had begun, not just to find the child, but to reach her before the Emperor does. If he got her first, the galaxy might change. If the council got to her first, she would never survive. Mia feels something strange. That night, as Mia slept, she dreamed of fire. Not burning fire, warm, protective fire. A huge shadow stood over her in the dream, wings spread like shelter. She woke up shaking. The window rattled. The attic light flickered. A low hum echoed in the air. She whispered, "Something is coming." Downstairs, alarms began to ring across the city. People rushed outside. Authorities shouted orders. Everyone looked up. Something massive entered Earth's sky, dark, huge, ancient. But Mia didn't run. Her heart felt something she had forgotten for years. The same warmth from the battlefield. The same golden light. The same silent promise. "You are safe." She stood at the window as the shadow grew larger and larger. A dragon. A real dragon. Descending. Searching. For her. The council assassin arrives first. A cloaked figure landed near the orphanage roof, silent as a falling feather. Dark wings folded. Sharp eyes scanned the windows. He whispered to himself, "If the Emperor wants her, she must be dangerous." Inside the attic, Mia felt her skin go cold. She wasn't alone. She took one step back. A board creaked. The assassin's head snapped toward the sound. He moved. Fast. Too fast. She gasped. But at that exact moment, the ground shook under a massive impact. A roar exploded across the city, deep, ancient, unstoppable. A voice followed, so powerful that windows cracked. "Do not touch her." The entire city fell silent. Even the assassin froze, because that voice could only belong to one being, the Dragon Emperor himself. And he had arrived. For her. The meeting. The city shook again. Not from an attack. not from weapons, but from a landing of something ancient, something enormous, something alive. The Dragon Emperor descended like a living eclipse, wings stretching across the night sky, scales glowing dark blue fire. When he landed, the ground trembled as if the planet itself bowed in fear. People screamed and ran. Cars crashed. Alarms blared. But Mia did not move. She stood in the attic window, staring at the same glowing eyes she had drawn her whole life. Golden, fierce, and strangely gentle. Just like before, the assassin makes his move. On the rooftop, the cloaked dragon assassin froze for only a second. Then instinct returned, deadly, fast, unquestioning. The Emperor was powerful, but his orders did not matter to the Secret Council. And they had commanded, "End the child." The assassin leapt toward the attic window, claws extended. Mia stumbled back, heart pounding, the air freezing around her. The assassin reached for her, but a shadow moved faster, much faster. In a thunderous flash of wings, the Emperor slammed down on the rooftop. His claws tore into the stone, cutting off the assassin's path. The impact sent shockwaves across the building. The assassin skidded back, barely staying on his feet. "Step away from the child," the Emperor growled, his voice deep enough to shake dust from the ceiling. The assassin lowered his hood, revealing sharp silver eyes. "Forgive me, my Emperor," he said calmly. "But the Council believes." Zarvatha's roar silenced the entire city. "The Council does not speak for me." Fire burst from his mouth, lighting up the sky. The assassin spread his wings, preparing to strike. "You are blinded by emotion, my lord. The child is dangerous to the Empire." Zarvatha's eyes burned hotter. "And you," he rumbled, "are dangerous to me." The assassin lunged. The Emperor met him midair. Claws clashed. Wings cracked. Lightning split the clouds above them. Dragons had fought wars for centuries, but no one had ever seen the Emperor fight with this much fury. Not for a planet. Not for a crown. Not for an empire. For a child. Mia steps forward. Down in the attic, glass shattered from the shockwaves. Mia stumbled to her feet. Every instinct told her to hide, but something stronger pulled her forward. A memory. A giant wing protecting her in the fire. A deep voice telling her she was safe. A warmth that felt like home. She whispered to herself, "He saved me before. He will save me again." She climbed through the broken window. Dust filled the air. The roof was cracked. Two enormous shadows battled in the lightning sky. The assassin lunged again, aiming for the Emperor's throat. Mia stepped onto the rooftop. Her voice, small, shaking, but brave, echoed across the chaos. "Mr. Dragon?" The Emperor froze mid-attack. The assassin's blade scraped his scales, barely missing his heart. But Zarvath didn't care. He turned slowly and saw her. The little girl with wide eyes, dusty clothes, messy hair, and the exact same expression she had the day he saved her. Fearful, hopeful, trusting. His breath caught in his throat. "Mia," he whispered. He said her name like he had been waiting years just to speak it. The assassin targets her again. The assassin recovered quickly. He saw the Emperor distracted. He saw the child exposed. He saw his chance. With a silent flap, he launched himself straight toward Mia. She gasped. The Emperor roared, a sound so powerful windows shattered for miles. He surged forward. Too slow, too far, too late. Mia closed her eyes, but the assassin never reached her. Because something impossible happened. A small spark of golden fire flashed around her like a shield. The assassin bounced off it, flying backward in shock. What? Even the Emperor hesitated. That was not dragon fire. That was not human technology. That was something else. Something ancient. Something powerful. Zarvath stared at the little girl. "What are you?" he whispered, not in fear but in awe. Mia opened her eyes, confused. I don't know." The Emperor stepped closer, his voice softer than anyone had ever heard. "You carry my fire." She blinked. "Your fire?" He nodded slowly. "When I saved you long ago, I shielded you with ancient dragon flame. Flame meant to protect royalty alone. I did not know it would remain in you." The assassin hissed. So the child holds power that belongs only to the throne. She's a danger. No, the emperor growled. She is under my protection. The emperor chooses. For a moment, the storm quieted. The emperor stood between Mia and the assassin, between the child and the council, between innocence and destruction. He said 5 words that would change the galaxy forever. She belongs to me now. The assassin stiffened. That is forbidden. The emperor's wings spread wide, covering Mia completely. I'm the emperor, he thundered. I decide what is forbidden. Golden fire ignited across his scales, brighter than any star in the sky. The assassin took a step back. For the first time, he looked afraid. Mia reaches out. The emperor prepared to strike. The assassin crouched to defend. The sky burned. The city trembled. And Mia, small and brave, gently touched the emperor's giant claw. He froze. Completely. Her voice was soft, but it cut through all the chaos. Thank you for coming back for me. The emperor closed his eyes. That tiny sentence hit harder than any weapon. All his rage, all his pain, all his guilt melted. This wasn't a mission. This wasn't duty. This wasn't war. This was a promise finally kept. He whispered only one word. Always. And all of Earth, all of the Dragon Empire, and all of the galaxy felt the shift. The emperor had chosen. The child, the human, the orphan, the one who drew him with crayons. The galaxy learns the truth. The rooftop was silent. Not peaceful silent. Danger silent. The kind of silence that comes right before a star explodes. The Dragon Emperor stood tall, wings spread like a shield over Mia, golden fire burning across his scales. The assassin crouched low, preparing for the final strike, or final defeat. The entire city watched from below. Every camera, every drone, every frightened citizen. Even Earth's military froze, unsure whether to fire or fall to their knees. Because no one had ever seen the emperor like this. Protective, alive, fierce in a way that wasn't cruel, but personal. And it terrified everyone. The assassin speaks the council's truth. The assassin wiped blood from his jaw, but his voice held no fear. My emperor, this is not just a child anymore. The emperor didn't move. She carries ancient dragon power, the assassin continued. Royal flame. If she lives, she could change bloodlines, she could alter prophecy, she could challenge the throne. Zarvatha's eyes burned brighter. She has done nothing wrong. But she could, the assassin insisted. The council fears a future where dragon fire is shared with humans. Where humans become more. The emperor growled, the sound deep enough to shake bricks loose from the roof. Humans have always been more, he said. The assassin stepped forward. You are blind, my lord. She must be destroyed before she becomes a threat. Mia hid behind the emperor's leg, trembling. But she didn't run. And that courage, that tiny spark of bravery, lit something inside Zarvath he had never felt before. Not anger. Purpose. Earth watches the impossible. Billions watched the live streams across Earth. On every screen, the emperor protected a small human girl. Some cried. Some prayed. Some shook in disbelief. World leaders whispered. Why is he protecting her? Is this child special? Is Earth safe? Is this the start of something new? Meanwhile, the Dragon Empire watched their emperor break every rule of their species. Some dragons roared in support. Some trembled in fear. Some felt something they had never felt before. Hope. The emperor gives a warning. The emperor's voice rolled across the city like thunder. No dragon will harm this child. No council. No assassin. No army. The assassin hissed. You would go against your own empire for a human? The emperor lowered his wings just enough to look Mia in the eyes. She looked scared, but safe. Lost but found. Small but powerful. Then he turned back to the assassin. For her, the emperor said. His voice grew deeper, older like mountains shifting. I would go against the entire galaxy. The assassin stepped back. Even he couldn't stand against that. Mia's fire awakens. But then the assassin made one last desperate move. He leapt forward, his claws igniting with silver flame. He aimed not at the emperor, but at Mia. The emperor roared, moving. But this time Mia reacted first. A burst of golden fire exploded from her chest, forming a glowing barrier around herself and the Emperor. It was bright. It was warm. It was alive. The assassin hit the shield and flew backward, crashing into a distant tower. The fire vanished as quickly as it came. Mia fell to her knees, exhausted and confused. The Emperor caught her gently in his claws. "You saved us," he whispered. "I didn't mean to," she said weakly. "You carry dragon fire," he answered. "And dragon fire answers only to the heart." The assassin flees, but not in defeat. The assassin rose, injured but alive. He knew he could not win, but he also knew the council would never stop. "You have chosen your path, my Emperor," the assassin said. "But understand this. Your choice will split the empire." Zarvith stepped forward, towering over him. "Then let it split." The assassin's eyes widened. "The council will punish you." The Emperor snarled. "They may try." The assassin spread his wings. "But know this, child," he said to Mia. "They will come for you." The Emperor growled, ready to strike. But the assassin fled into the night, wings disappearing into the clouds. The threat was not gone. It was only beginning. Earth approaches the Emperor. As the danger faded, human soldiers surrounded the rooftop, cautious but trembling. Their commander approached, staring up at the massive dragon. "You came for a human child?" he asked. The Emperor lowered himself slightly, still shielding Mia. "She is under my protection." "But why?" The Emperor gazed down at Mia. And for once, he told the truth. "Because she remembered me," he said. "When the entire galaxy tried to forget what kindness is, she remembered." Mia held the edge of his claw and whispered, "You saved me. I never forgot." The Emperor's eyes softened just a little. "And now," he said, "I will save you." The Emperor makes his decision. He spoke loudly enough for every camera, every world, every species watching. From this day forward, the human child Mia is part of the dragon throne. Gasps erupted across Earth, across space, across every world. She is under my protection, my flame, and my legacy. The council would rage. The empire would shake. The galaxy would change. But nothing could undo it. The final moment. Mia leaned against his giant claw, exhausted. The Emperor lowered his huge head, touching her forehead gently with his snout, the same way he had years ago. A silent vow, a promise completed, a bond unbreakable. The sky above them lit up as dragon ships repositioned to protect Earth. And the galaxy whispered in awe. The Dragon Emperor has chosen a human child. A new age had begun, a story that the stars themselves would remember. The day a simple thank you card changed an entire galaxy.